Hopefully you're enjoying the beautiful weather. Um, I've been doing lots of kayaking, but I did just ride the Bayshore Trail a minute ago, so that's why I'm like a little bit shiny. So we're going to start the meeting at 10 o'clock, and I'm going to chair it. Larry, I don't know if anyone saw Larry has a new um, camper van. I think he's out enjoying the weather also, so that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's a beautiful camper.
Yeah, Mike and I got to see it when we
Yeah,
were out there. So I'm hoping that's where he is
yeah.
today. So we're going to adopt the agenda, just making sure that nobody has anything else. Sorry, Hannah, go ahead.
I just need to read the streaming notice quickly and then I'll be out of your hair.
Perfect. Thank you.
So today's meeting is being streamed live on the Township of Ramara's YouTube channel. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the Ramara Trails Committee, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair, secretary, and/or director of infrastructure have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of the live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. I will now pass the meeting back to the chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah. Okay, so the first item, 2.1, is the Ramara Trails Committee meeting agenda dated September 18th, 2024. And that I'm looking that the committee adopt the agenda for today's meeting. Is there any additions or any changes? And I have somebody,
Mike will move.
thank you. A second. Thank you. Steve? Okay, so then we'll go on to adoption of the minutes. Oh. Okay, so that's item 3.1. So the Ramara Trails Committee meeting minutes was from July 17th, 2024. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at them. And is there any changes that need to be made? Okay, I see none. So again, can someone move that the committee adopt the Ramara Trails Committee meeting minutes dated July 17th, 2024 as presented?
Mike will move again.
Thank you, Michael. And we've got a second, so perfect. We'll move on. Thank you. Okay, so we're going on to 4.1. So these are the agenda items for today. So this is the financial report for August. I'm assuming that's you, Michael.
Yeah, we have revenue of 54,000, almost 55,000, but we spent very little of that, only 2,000. So we have a surplus of 52,000, 52,500. I guess my question is to Josh, do we have any projects that are going forward that's going to spend this money?
Yeah, so all that money is spoken for. There's the casino trail, which will come up shortly. There's the Rammer Road Trail. There's the gates. Some of it's allotted to the matching grants that we have for TCT as well as Simcoe County. So there's no surplus. That's all spoken for.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. And I think it's just a report, so I don't think we need any motion, do we, Mike?
No, just information, I think.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so item 4.2 is the 2025 budget. Is that you again, or who was?
Yes.
Yeah.
That report was sent to me by somebody at the township. So it has to be in near the end of September. I'll get working on it and go from there. The other report relates to that budget. I was surprised that our reserves is in that much of a deficit, and unless Josh, you can highlight me, I'll talk to Treasury about how we got that far into a negative in our reserve?
That was the Side Road 15 trail last year.
Okay, so we overspent on that then.
Yes, so
Okay.
with the next 5 years, the trails budget is capped at $50,000 with certain repayment back to reserves every year.
That's right. Yeah. So in the
From that,
process of doing the budget, I'll make sure we put some of that aside to replace that reserve as I
yeah,
predict. And what
Yeah.
I'll do once I've got that budget, I'll share it with everybody before I actually submit it, if that's all right.
yeah. So with this meeting, it'd be a good time if there is any ideas for 2025, because yes, budgets have to be in by September. Well, mine has to be in this coming Monday. But all other budgets have to be in by, I believe, September 26th.
Yes.
So if there is projects that anybody's interested in for 2025, to bring it up now. That way we can get budgetary pricing and get that all within the budget for next year.
Yeah. Good idea, Josh.
Okay, so do people have items that they would like to see in the budget for next year? So Josh, I'm assuming the line 15, if that works out, would we be budgeting for that to try to finish that project?
The budget is capped at $50,000. So 36,100, I believe, is the possible spending for 2026. Or 2025, sorry. I got the number here. So that Side Road 15 would be over that allotted budget for everything that's required. So $36,100 is what is available to be put towards projects in 2025.
And what projects do we have for 2025?
That's what we're trying to determine right now.
So right now we have zero?
No, so there was projects, we made a short list in the past, continue the Ramara Road Trail further north a little bit each year. We could look at resurfacing of some of the Atherley Trail if that's required.
Updating signage.
Yeah, signage was another one, to update signage, do a little more wayfinding with signage. I can't remember anything else off the top of my head. Any additional gates, if there's additional gates to go anywhere for next year. But it's kind of.
Well, I think we should be applying for the MAC. So I mean, how are you talking about the trail when you said north? Are you talking about the trail that we're working on from Longford Mills up to the old leadership camp?
Correct, yeah. So part of that'll be done this year. I'm just finalizing all the tender work. I'm hoping to have it out later this week, if not early next week. And then that completion will be before November 1st.
I would say that we get all the little stuff budgeted. If there's, like you were mentioning, fences, signs, etc. And if there's room left over, then we try to figure out how far north we could go, unless somebody's got some other projects, but we should definitely be applying for the full amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are all the gates going to be fixed up until the casino with the money this year?
No. No, they won't. So we're putting in two. I'm getting pricing on 2 new sets of gates right now. So one for Side Road 15 and one for Southview, or Southwood?
South River.
South River Road, sorry, up in Washago. And then we're gonna repurpose some gates for the Orkney Beach trail rather than put in some new gates temporarily until we can put some money towards some new gates there.
Well, would it help if we went through the rest of the agenda, then come back to the budget? Because as we talked about each of those trails down below, we'll probably get more focused on ideas.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
To the chair.
Morning.
Thank you for that. Okay, so so Mike, you'll be listening as we go through the other pieces.
That's right.
So we're going to go to 4.3, which is the TCT funding opportunity. So is that you, Ashley, or who speaks to that one?
So Larry sent this to me via email, but unfortunately he's not here to speak about it.
Does it have a deadline, do we know, or can it go on the next agenda then when he's back?
I'd have to take a look. Give me 1 second.
This is the Trans-Canada Trail, right? And I think this is the one.
It's about invasive species removal and tree planting, so on and so forth.
I don't see a due, like a date where application is required.
Unless somebody else can speak to it, then maybe let's put it on the agenda for next month.
I can do that if Ashley doesn't have any comments.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't had a chance to look at this one.
It's all good.
Okay, and if it's got a deadline, then we can do it through email, I guess, to see.
Yeah.
We have some suggestions. Okay, so then item 4.4 is for the updates. So Josh, I think this is over to you for all of this list of updates.
Yeah, I can go through them. I think it was all a list from Larry. So Casino to Airport Road Trail, I am still working with Ramara First Nation to come up with the final design, and then they will vote on that design once we reach an agreement with it. The Ramara Road Trail, like I said.
Sorry, hold on. Will it be finished this year?
Yes. So I'm hoping. We do have deadlines with that one as well. So I'm just trying to work through with Ramara First Nation to get that completed. So
what is the holdup? What is it, just finding meeting time, or is there 2 or 3 plans that they're considering?
It's meeting time and just trying to pick which trees to move or remove and stuff like that. It's down to kind of the nitty-gritty at this point. So, and then the other thing is determining where they have the concrete islands, if we're going to backfill them with stone or paving. If it's paving, it's going to increase the cost quite a bit. So we're trying to do stone versus paving. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
No, have you got a meeting set up with them, or is there a next step? Like, have you got a scheduled meeting with them or scheduled phone call?
No, I was going to reach out to Dennis again. So there's no meeting set right now. We've just been going back and forth with email. So. Okay. The Ramara Road Trail, like I said, we're just finalizing that tender. Hopefully we'll have it out this week or early next week. That has a project deadline of November 1st, which won't be an issue to meet on that one.
And is Ramara, are they bidding on it?
I was going to send it to them as well. Yeah. So I was going to send it to the contractors we've worked with in the past, as well as Ramara, and then see how it comes back. So.
Is there any opportunity on either of those, the Casino Trail or the Rama Road Trail, like for the signage to also be in Ojibwe, just as a gesture of kind of solidarity, or I don't know.
Yeah, I can reach out to Rama First Nation to see if it's something they'd prefer.
Yeah, okay.
So Orkney Beach Trail Connection, we are still working with the homeowner on the consent agreement for that property. I have put in locates to do the work. I'm hopefully going to be doing that once our road work slows down. So that'll be a late fall, early winter kind of fill-in project for the infrastructure department. And it essentially is only going to be a 10-foot gravel trail at this point with a gate on the east end of the property. The west end will be wide open because it's now a municipal road allowance through there. So there was Gananoska Trail signage on here. I'm not sure. I don't have any updates with that. There was a few members that walked the trail and it was discussed then, but I don't know what was determined on which way the trail was going. So I'll need an update for that from Larry to move forward with any signage there. I know we talked about 46 being signed, but again, it's a county road. So I'd have to get permission from Simcoe County, but I know there was a meeting to see if an alternate route could be determined, either concession 12 or 13 through the road allowances there. So I'll follow up with Larry on that one. Fairgrounds Road to Cooper's Falls signage. We've talked about this many times in the past. Every time we put up signage, it is removed by somebody. We're not sure who. We put signage up, I think, 3 times at this point now. So what we're doing is we put a trail information signage with a code that you can scan at 169 in Fairgrounds. And then I believe there's a second one up on Cooper's Falls, but we haven't reinstalled the signage in between just because it's just an ongoing expense to reinstall it.
Why do we even bother?
Exactly. That's why we went to this other way of doing it. So the gates, like I mentioned earlier, so I've sent all the requirements out to 2 local contractors that build the gates. They should have pricing back this week, they said. As soon as they get the pricing back, as long as it's within the budget, we'll move ahead with getting those gates ordered. And then because of the issues we've had in the past with the installation of the signs, or the gates, sorry, we're going to be installing them in-house with rebar and the proper requirements to keep them up and keep them from rotating on themselves. So that's all I have for those updates in 4.4. Is
there any questions for Josh other than what's been asked? Go ahead, Annalise.
Josh, are you going to space them? Like the one on the right will be 3 feet or 4 feet in front of the one on the left?
So I've spoken to the contractors that are going to be building those gates. In order to stagger them front to back, we need to go 3 times the length of the gate. So if we space them side to side, because you're going to have to, if you go front to back, you have to make the S. So the gates have to be longer. So essentially the gates have to go over the center to keep the ATVs and everything out. So if we go side to side, we're only coming in essentially a third on both gates.
Paul, what do you think of that?
Well, as long as you leave the space a little wider than just the 3 feet, I don't see why they wouldn't work lined up across the trail.
Yeah, so that's what I did. We did lined up across the trail rather than staggering forward.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'll be a more economical gate to go side to side, straight across. And I did speak to the snowmobile club to find out what their requirement was for spacing for the winter with the groomer and whatnot. So
And what spacing did they want?
they wanted a minimum of 12 feet.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So
And
they
when the
said
gate, when the gates
Sorry?
are closed, what will the space be between the two arms? Just
it'll be 42 inches as per AODA.
sure.
So what happens? The snowmobile club has a key and they open it up and they go through?
No, so basically when it comes time to the snowmobile trail starting to groom, we'll open the gates and lock them in the open position.
Okay. Thanks, Josh, for all the work on all of those trails. It'll be exciting when they get done. Okay, we're gonna go to 5.1. So some of the updates obviously were.
Kathy, you just like two questions here, one of Dana and one from Charlotte. Were you first, Dana?
Oh, sorry, I don't see.
The more important question. I don't know that this is important, and it might not even be, it might be a stupid question, but when you were talking about infilling the medians with pavement or rock and budget, would it even be a possibility to use like native plants, like grasses and that sort of thing to fill in?
It would, but then there's added maintenance costs because you're gonna have to maintain that at that point.
But if they're perennials, they wouldn't require a great deal of maintenance.
But you're also gonna have snowmobiles going over this in the winter.
Some pretty hardy stuff.
We haven't looked at that. We've looked at hard surfaces. So either stone or, 'cause it's their property too, so we're trying to.
Yeah, well, because this is the one that goes through
The
reserve,
parking lot, yeah.
right? So it might be,
I can follow up and see if they'd be interested, yeah.
yeah, I'm just thinking is to go along with just culturally, like that might be something. And it also softens the landscape a bit.
Promotes better drainage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a stupid question, but no.
Might fall in under that grant that we're gonna have to look into, because they had tree planting. Maybe it applies to native plants as well.
Maybe, yeah. Dana?
Dana, go.
Yes, it wasn't really so much of a question than a comment regarding the gates and the signage. I know we had an opportunity to speak about the Johnson fencing signage a while back, Josh, so I understand you've been removing those signs because they didn't donate, they were paid. And I had been hearing some feedback from residents that it made it appear almost like private property rather than trails.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
so thank you for removing those or planning to remove them if they're not all removed.
All right, let's move on to 5.1. So some of those updates obviously are what we're in what Josh just told us, but anything additional for the Atherley Trail?
I took a group of bicycles, and walkers, and Josh's men have done a great job, or people, cutting and getting the trailhead looking good and the rest of the trail. Didn't see any trees down and everything looked good. Any comments, Paul?
Oh, no, that sounds fine.
Good. David, did you have a question? No? Okay. How about the Wishago Trail?
Nothing to report. Everything seems to be fine.
Okay, and then the Bayshore Trail, I rode some of it this morning and everything looked good. Excited to get Orkney Beach done. That'll be nice. How about Lagoon City Trail? Oh, that's Larry. That's usually Larry, right? All right. South Ramara Trail.
I believe that was also Larry.
Yeah.
Larry too. Okay, great. All right, what about special features? Anything to report there? And if not, social media, anything?
We received a few more photos from 3 different participants, so I'll be sending that out. It closes on Friday, so I'll send that out Monday for the committee to pick in order to receive those gift cards.
And Ashley, is trail, does water included, pictures included, or just physical trails? Just wondering, because a friend of mine, we went paddling for the full moon and she took some pretty amazing pictures.
As far as I know, with the committee, it was just related to trails.
Okay. Do you want pictures of kayaking on the water? Just for your own social media stuff?
Sure. Sure, if they want to send it to me, yeah. But just part of the campaign itself, I believe it was just the trails and for people to kind of get it on the trails and learn more about them, so on and so forth.
Okay, great. So I guess if anybody has any pictures or know of anybody that's taken some pictures, they have to be in by Friday. Okay, so item number 6, Ashley, anything on the grants that we need to know about?
For a lot of the ones, other than the one that Larry sent, we're just in the process of kind of getting those completed. So when it comes to the Trans-Canada Trail Spring Grant, we submitted that one, and then we have the other ones that are open. We don't have any other money to spend, so I haven't looked at any other grants towards projects, because most grants require money and we don't have anything left over in our 2024 budget. And I haven't seen anything yet for 2025. But depending on where this discussion goes, grants could come up later this year, if not earlier next year, in regards to those 2025 projects.
Okay, thank you. Is there any unfinished or new business that people want to bring up while we're together? No, Dana, go ahead.
I had spoken to the mayor about this on the weekend, but I don't know if it needs to also come through here, regarding the old CN line between basically Longford Mills and Washago. Now that CN is, I don't even know what the status is with CN, if they're indefinitely keeping it, or if there is a possibility ever of it being turned into a trail. But I was really hoping that before the quarry opens up again next year, that we could know what we're doing in terms of a trail in that spot. And if county was willing to put then its money from whatever was planned for the rail line to something more at the roadside, just to try and coordinate with the Trails Committee and making something happen, because that road's going to get dangerous in a year's time.
So do you have an action or a request from the committee?
So the mayor said that he was going to bring that up in county, but I'm just wondering if it needs to have some kind of also communication from the Trails, with the Trails Committee as well.
Well, one thing we could
be handled informally, I don't know.
One thing we could do is, I guess we could design trail, but there's no use redoing that existing trail. It goes from one side of the road to the other. Is that what you're talking about? Is just redoing the existing trail that's there?
I don't really like the existing trail that's there. The fact that it crisscrosses the road several times, to me, that's not safe. But what I'd like to do is, number one, find out what CN's plans are with that section. If they are going to be keeping it indefinitely, or if there is some chance. And if not, can we please get started with the county's help?
Yeah, well, I know what CN's position is, and at the present time, they're using it as a work yard, and that may change in the future, but their official position is they're keeping it until they find a better place to store their trains.
Right, thank you. Yes, that's the information I have as well, but I've been hearing from residents in the Portage Bay area who are in real estate that apparently that it's going to be released in 2025. So I just wasn't sure if there was some new news on that, that maybe you have or see it, or the county, but anyway, just to not forget about that, that's all.
Well, how do we verify this? What? Can you get a hold of your contact and find out where they heard this from? Maybe they work for CN. I don't know.
They're local realtors. I think they're handling all the real estate in that Rosy Beach Court area by Lake St. John. So they have been asking about that specific section of tracks, and that's the information they received, but I'll
Follow up with them, but I doubt very much they have anything concrete. I would say it's a sales pitch because people who want to buy there may not want the train in their backyard.
I see.
Yeah, and typically with the sales of tracks, there is a priority and a sequence of who it's offered to first. So it typically would go the township, county, and if neither one's interested, it would go in from that point. So,
okay.
As far as the trail along Rammer Road, I did meet with Christian, and so he's the director of roads for Simcoe County. We did talk about it quickly, and he was going to drive it, and we didn't have time that day to drive that section of road to see what his thoughts were moving forward. But they were interested in working with the township to either redo the trail or to have a trail, because there's certain sections that there is no trail up to Ishago. They were going to look into the road allowance to see how it could fit and where it could fit within that road allowance. And I think that's the reason it does go back and forth, is because the road allowance isn't necessarily in the center of their road allowance, and that's why it crosses back and forth. It hugs one side and then the other within certain sections. So I can follow up with the county to see if he has any further input on it. There.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Okay, so I think the only other item is to circle back to 4.2. Is there anything? It's like we might have lost Mike, so it might not be helpful. Was there anything that we want to just record that was highlighted that should be in the budget? Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Is there anything that needs to be done to get the trail to Longford Mills? Is there any work that needs to be done so that it connects with the project that we're going to undertake this fall?
Yeah, to finish it, we're not gonna, I'm just pulling my map, sorry. So we're only gonna get essentially from Longford to sorry. Yeah, it was just past Quarry Point Road, I believe.
Right, but the question is to get the trail to Longford from the north. Does anything have to be done project-wise?
No, so that trail does go all the way from Switch Road down to Longford currently. It was resurfacing that we were looking at and cleaning it up to widen it back out to what it originally was. So it does go the full route up to Switch from Airport Road. Is it Airport or Longford? Sorry.
Yeah, so between Airport and Longford.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be the section between Airport and Longford, which will be part of the casino trail.
Okay.
Yeah. So one project could be wherever we end off this year, extending a little bit further north, see how much further north we can get. So
right. So we don't need to budget anything to get the trail from the north to Longford to hook on to the new project.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Dave, go ahead.
Josh, do you know anything about, it looks like they're building a road over the trail at Geneva Park. They built a road, but they've stopped at property line. They've got about another 6 feet before they get to Rammer Road. Maybe sorry, maybe 15 feet, I guess, before they get to Rammer Road. Have you seen that?
Yeah, so back when the entrance application was put into Simcoe County, the county did reach out to us about crossing the trail and what our requirements are for that crossing of the trail. So what they're doing, they're putting a new entrance into Geneva, and they're going to be taking out the old one. So we said we want to keep that trail at that nominal width, and it's got to be maintained through there to be able to allow access for the trail.
You know the reason they're putting in a new road when they already got one?
I think it's just to realign it. They're putting gas in there, and there are certain requirements with gas, so.
And so do we need to budget for signage or something where they cross that road, like little stop signs or anything like?
We don't have that on any other driveway. If you want to start it on one, you're gonna have to do everyone.
Okay.
I'd leave that to the Snowmobile Club.
Okay.
We should probably budget some money for signage for next year. I don't know, Hannah, do you want to bring up that little budget template? Are you able to?
Yep, no problem. Give me 1 second.
So Mike, I know we lost you for a second. So we've gone back up to 4.2 just to finish off if there
Yep.
are any budget
Thank you.
elements. So that's what they're bringing up the template now. And
It's
then
gonna
that,
make.
Do you want the Excel sheet up?
No, even just what's in the PDF for the agenda.
Okay. Well, I've got the Excel up, so I hope that's okay. Hope that will work.
The same document.
Yeah. Just share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep. So this is basically what staff forward on for budget. So the first orange box, Trails Grant from Municipality, that one's gonna be the $50,000. And then wages is determined by Treasury. Insurance will be determined by Treasury as well. So if we want to do any, this year we had the 4,900 for contract services if we needed to bring contractors in for anything. We haven't yet, so there still is availability if there is any work that the committee feels needs to be completed this year. We do have 4,900 bring contractor in for any miscellaneous maintenance, anything like that. 2 reserves, we're gonna have to put in that, I think it was the 15,000 or 13,900, so that'll go in there. So we'll have to determine construction materials and then projects moving forward, trail study and work. So typically the trail study and work is the projects we're moving forward with. And I'd like to see a budget item for signage. Just update signage on trails where required.
Can you explain a little bit more about the trail study and work? Like, I just don't remember 75. What's that 75,000 specifically for?
That's the casino trail. So, and then we asked for this year, we asked for the extra 15,000 from the township and 15,000 from Ramara First Nation. And that's going into the county matching grant for that Ramara Road Trail, the resurfacing there. So, well, give me, sorry.
Does the county only match? What's the maximum the county will match?
So
For that one is 50,000.
Thank you.
So what we could do, like we can put a little bit in for contract services again for next year. We can put some in for signage, and then we could put the balance into trail study and work to get the budget to go through. And then we can determine that project in a future meeting, if that works for the committee.
Sorry, what I just said was wrong. For the TCT matching for 2023, they only match up to $30,000. So that's why we're doing 15 from the township, 15 from Ramara, which makes 30, and then they're matching that with the other 30.
Isn't that a count?
But that's the county. That's the 30 for 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does that work for you, Mike? Do you want
Yeah,
me to
no,
complete
that makes
this?
sense. Oh, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, do you want me to pre-populate this and then send it back to you, or do you just want
Yeah,
to fill it, send it
Yeah,
back?
no, that sounds good, Josh. You populate it, send it to me, and then I'll have a look at it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and then that way we don't have to make a decision today what project we're gonna move forward with for 2025. We should probably know before it goes to council. That way, if a question comes up of what we're using the funds for, we know what we're using it for. So between this meeting and the next meeting, if people can think of those projects, and then we can determine what we're gonna put it towards at the next trails meeting, which will give us time before it goes to council.
Larry
Sounds
has-
like a plan.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if we can, Hannah, if you can put that on the agenda for next meeting, that'd be great.
Yep, that's no problem.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other unfinished business or new business,
Dana's got a question.
not gonna let us leave.
So, no, it's just quick, and it sort of has to do with that same area I was talking about before, the Rammer Road Trail between Washako and Floral Park area. I met with, as part of the community liaison committee, the Fowler people the other day, and anyway, we had a brief discussion about it, and they'd be willing to help out with materials, parts, labor, whatever, with that section of trail in conjunction with whatever we're doing, obviously not the whole shot or anything, but to help, which I thought was nice if that gets things going. Anyway, I said I would bring it up with the Trails Committee, so if that's something we can try to. Thanks.
So what actions need to happen to solidify that offer from them?
I guess to even figure out exactly what, I need to find out from my end, what exactly they'd be willing to do. But just if that work, if Josh can figure out if that's something that can be coordinated with whatever county is willing to do.
Yeah.
And then that way, so we can, they seem to me to be open if we presented a plan.
Okay.
So if, yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks for doing that. Anything else? Okay, if not, I need a motion for the committee to adjourn.
Michael, move.
Thank you, Michael. Always the best motion of the day. Okay, so we're gonna adjourn at 10:43 a.m. and we'll see everybody October 16th, I guess, is the next meeting.
Well done, Kathy.
Hopefully Larry will be back from traveling. Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye now.
Kathy, thanks
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye
Bye.
now.
Yeah, Larry has that whole list of